So that's right. We made it.
We're here.
At the Tavern Talk. Woo! You want to bridge me in?
Oh, yeah. So, Jordan, you wanted to talk about the Buggy launch day of the 20th anniversary. What you got going on here? What's the issue?
So I guess we'll go real brief. I was a little frustrated that I tried to do the Chromie event 3 times, and each time it got interrupted in the middle of it and bugged, and we had to leave and rejoin 3 times on the first night.
Okay, I haven't done it yet, so.
Well, it's better now. They fixed it. It's just, I don't know, like, where do we lay with how unfinished things they're going to release are? Like, we're kind of becoming $15 a month beta testers. It's kind of... I get they wanted to keep a lot of this secret, right? So they couldn't really test a whole lot of this on a fundamental level, right?
Right.
It just shows maybe a lack of development team, like a lack of insight. Like, this is... I'm kind of... I was really excited to do this 20th anniversary event, and it's unfinished on day 1. I was kind of frustrated, I guess.
No,
So
I can understand that too.
I don't mean to start it on a dark note, but
Yeah.
because the 20th anniversary is amazing.
Oh,
what
it's so
they're
awesome.
doing.
I love it. If you haven't
now
done
that it's working,
go.
it's amazing. But
I mean,
I did.
it's been great even with the Chromie event apparently breaking for me though, but I would highly suggest going to do it.
Anything in it. Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff because you have to do the raid, you have to do dungeons. It's so cool. So fucking cool. So I guess that's all we're going to touch on it. I was a little disappointed with how buggy it was on day 1. I was really excited and it kind of killed my vibe a little bit. I guess let me know in the comment section down below if you agree with me.
Yeah, or how are you enjoying the 20th anniversary as well.
So Nick, there is a new, I'll call it a whale mount. There's a whale mount that come out. And how much is it?
$90.
How do you feel about Blizzard doing this?
I think it so personally, I think it is a horrible price point at $90. That's 3 months of subscription time. No, what? 6? 6.
6 months.
6 months of subscription time? Like, are you kidding me? For a mount? I get it when it's like a hard achievement or something like that. That's cool. First off, I'm not like a mount or a transmog collector in any way. Like, yeah, I find, ones that I want to go get.
We get the stuff we
something.
want, right?
Yeah, like I just go out and get what I want. I'm not one that's, I don't go collect mounts and shit. It's not my gig. But I think it's a disgusting price point, honestly, because of just being $90. I think it's gross.
I think...
What justifies that? What justifies $90? I just want to know that, really.
Well, the 1.1 million people that bought it in a week is part of what justifies it. Because let's do the math on that. That's what, over $100 million in 2 days?
Yeah.
And so, to be honest with you, I don't need that mount, okay? I didn't even need the old one. I have money and I'm stingy. Like 5 million gold or gold cap was not worth it to have an auction house on my mount. $90 swiping my card is still not worth it, in my opinion, for buying that mount.
I think this goes to a bigger problem that I have with a lot of games nowadays. You don't need a big team to produce a high-quality game. It's shown through indie games. You don't need it. And I think that companies have become vastly over-bloated and then have leveraged in order to keep these things bloated, moving into microtransactions to where they can do this. And I look at this as kind of like that. And it's annoying. I don't want to spend the money. Granted, I understand some people will, and that's fine. But I think it does a detriment. It harms the overall gaming industry to be doing stuff like this, in my opinion.
And so, I think it's putting a Band-Aid on a financial problem is what it is ultimately. But let me devil's advocate, right? As you and I, we didn't buy them out.
Right.
I'm not swiping for that. But you see so many in town. You see so many people wearing this mount. I'm going to be honest with you, it made them a ton of money. And I want to hope that some of that is going into the investment of our beautiful game. At least some of it, right?
Well, it is. I mean, overall, it's going to go to, salaries and stuff like that. Like, it's going to go to development stuff. I don't know if it's going to expand
revenue of the game, right?
Right. It's good because they do need it, and especially a game like this. But they also have... What I would rather see happen is the subscriber count continue to lead the development of World of Warcraft, whether it's story or anything else. Not stuff that comes out of the store for $90, because then it's not actually game content. It's just like, here's my frilly little, like, $5 thing or whatever. Like, look at me, I'm cool. And I think that if we follow that, all it's going to do is lead development basically back to Shadowlands, where they don't even listen to the player base. And that's what's going to frustrate me.
I don't know if it would lead all the way back to that, because I'm almost on the other side of this. Like, I'm not a mount collector, right? I don't need to have every mount in the game, right?
Well, neither of us are.
This doesn't bother me. Like, I've played games like Fortnite. I've played games, I've played other games that utilize way more disgusting monetization practices. And to be honest with you, if us as a community are going to swipe this hard on the store, can we let Blizzard get their bag?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't care. It doesn't hurt my experience. I still get the same game for $15 a month.
Right, and like that's the thing is what I'm saying is I don't want it to become the point to where they're just doing it a lot. And it's like, well, everything else now is kind of shit in the game. Like, think about if this, granted, I know these only happen at special times, but it became a more regular drop type of thing. And now the ways to get the cool mounts is by paying, $90, $100 or some crap. Like, I'll never have a cool mount, and I guess that's what that is.
I have hope for the community. I think people will like the mounts that you have to earn.
Yeah.
The mounts that you actually go and get, that's really impressive. The ahead of the curve mounts, for example, all kinds of things like that. I think these continue to be valuable, but if they have a really cool looking skin on the store, or you want to auction house from wherever, like you're not in Dornagol every day of the week anyway, like where my bank tune is? My bank tune stands inches from the freaking auctioneer, okay?
Oh, yeah.
So, like, I don't need the mount.
I know,
especially not with warbands.
Yeah, my bank tune just goes from the auction house to the mailbox to the auction
right.
house to the mailbox.
Doesn't even have to. You can use a toy to summon the mailbox. Doesn't even have to move that far.
Yeah, I don't have that toy, so I have to go to the mailbox.
So I just think it's kind of funny. It's really not worth $90. Ultimately,
I don't think it is anywhere close to $90.
And people are freaking out about how many people have it. And to be honest with you, if you want them all to line up with their $90 mounts in the freaking Capitol, then let them do it. I don't care. Let them wail out. Cash the check, Blizzard.
Yeah,
call it a day.
It ultimately comes down to the player themselves who's going to buy it. Like, I don't see the added benefit of that mount at that price point. I don't see it. So economically,
Absolutely
it
not.
doesn't touch
It's convenient at like 10, 15, 20 bucks. I could see swiping for it.
Yeah, I maybe 20 bucks. Yeah, I'm not doing 90.
But so many people did.
Yep.
So the truth of it is, we as a player base should take advantage of these whales. They're literally funding our game, right?
Oh, yeah.
There's two sides to this. I don't know. Let us know in the comments below. This one's really
what did you
controversial.
Think about it? And do you think the mount's cool?
Do you think it's cool to have pay cosmetics or pay conveniences, actually? I would say this is convenience. And because there's lots of games that do this, like Path of Exile and Tarkov. There's a lot of games that pay for convenience. However, keep in mind, we bought this game and we pay $15 a month to play this game anyway. So kind of interesting. Where does this lie in your opinions? How do you guys feel? Let us know below.
All right, so Jordan, moving on from the mount, because I know you and I can go all day on this crap. What did you think about Blackrock Depths so far?
I thought the scaling is off. I think LFR is really, really easy. I do think the tanking's kind of interesting. You just kind of let your main tank just, have a fat mitigation stat and do it, which is kind of cool, but kind of a bring back. But because when you do BRD on your LFR, it's easier than a Nubar Palace by far, especially tanking the LFR difficulty. And then you walk in the normal, and then you got to be woke. You got to know every mechanic, which there aren't too many.
Yeah.
Blackrock Depth, so you don't have to know too many mechanics, right? There's no multiple boss phases, for example, anything like that. But I thought it was a really, really stark difference in between LFR and normal compared to Palace, for sure. And something I wanted to talk about with the LFR scaling is a good friend of mine, Sully, a friend of the show for sure, has come in and on her level 36 Death Knight did an average of 15 million damage per second.
Oh my god.
She single-handedly carried the whole damn fucking raid. We didn't even have to be there. She could have done it by herself. Like, absolutely mad. So I think it's interesting how they got to figure out this scaling, because they tried to dump all the scaling us down. Now everybody's scaled up to max, and obviously it's not working. I just thought it was a really, really stark difference between the LFR and the normal. Like, that was really abrupt.
Yeah.
Like, at least in LFR, the tanks have to swap or something.
Well, when we ran the normal too, it was like, because we did the LFR first and then we went into normal, and doing the normal was vastly harder. You had to know stuff. Granted, it's normally like that, regular content, right?
More
but I'm
or
talking,
less.
Yeah, I'm talking like it felt way harder than that normal jump is, or that jump to normal would be.
And so the argument I see being is these mechanics are way simpler. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't look up online and study Blackrock Depth's new mechanics, right? But I did study Nurubar Palace's mechanics. So maybe I'm a little biased here, but I think it's a cool move. Obviously the balancing is off. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. The scaling is off, but I think this is a good attempt. I want them to keep doing things like this with raids. I want them to keep recreating stuff on top of the content we're already getting, guys. Like, we're gonna get another raid tier, whether or not this lands, right?
Oh yeah,
I think it's a good move. There's good gear from actually pulling people into doing the time walking raid. Like, I can't even tell you how many times a week I have people that are like, what's a time walking raid? How do you do that?
Oh, my God.
Right. And, like, this is a good avenue. Everybody's talking about BRD. I'm sorry, Black Rock Depths. We said we were going to acronym too much, but
yeah.
As it gets confusing, there's BRD, there's BRF, there's BDO, there's, right?
Right.
I think it's cool. I like the raid. I don't like it as much as Palace. I guess that's maybe my hot take for the episode, because I think Palace is better. But it's a really good classic rendition. I think they did it justice.
Oh yeah, no, and that's one thing that I love about them doing this 20th anniversary is, especially time walking in general, is we always get to go back to the old stuff sometimes, and it's just fun to go through it, even when you're just gonna smack the shit out of it. Or it smacks the shit out of you.
So we're going to move on from BRD. So we're used to roughly like an 8-week time frame for seasons or something around that 8 to 12 week roughly, right? Time frames for patches. And a lot of people in the community are saying these patches are rushed or incomplete. So Nick, how do you feel about the progression rate of this game? Like, are you itching for a new raid, or do you think we need longer with this one?
As somebody who does like full-time job and other responsibilities outside of like this and our guild, I'm fine with the 8 weeks. I think it's more than enough time for me to enjoy the content, work on stuff, and like get up there before we have the next season. So for me, it's really good. I know some people have a lot more free time on their hands and don't have, a kid and other things that really just do this as, hey, this is a thing I play. And I can understand from that point of, no, it takes too damn long to get the next raid, the next season, what have you. So, but I appreciate the time length personally. What about you?
I think there is a sweet spot they're playing with. Because they can't make it 6 weeks. Nobody's going to keep up, right? Nobody's going to keep up with that. But 8 to 10 to 12 weeks allows like an LFR player to actually play it a couple of times. You can actually get into the LFR, or let's say you just quested the whole time, you experienced the War Within. I think you should season season 1, right? And in fact, you can stretch this one. There's people learning crafting things, a whole new expansion, right? And you could milk this. I don't think they're lacking on that. I do think we're going to have a little while before tier 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a good spacing, to be honest with you. A lot of people are complaining about how fast this expansion is going. And I'm going to be honest with you, it's really competitive. Like, it's incredibly competitive. If you just want to log in and play the LFRs, there's new content every 8 to 10 weeks. And that's awesome. Think about that from a gameplay perspective.
Right. You're getting new stuff all the time.
All the time. New story quests, new etc. If they do a little bit more damage mitigation and testing, they have a little bit more foresight, the 8 to 12 week cycle is perfect. There are some problems. I do think there are some things rushed, right? And we can talk about that day in and day out. Like, they didn't worry about that rogue patch for what was that, 14 years? And
something like that.
We can get into the nitty-gritty if we want, but I do think 8 to 12 weeks is a good window. So the next topic is a bit interesting. Nick, what do you think about the new WoW token fluctuation? What have you gathered from this madness?
That people leverage it at a fair amount. That's what I've gathered, which is totally fine. I think the
There's
WoW
bigger
token
forces at power here. Yes.
Oh yeah. I think the WoW token overall is like a very fine tool that Blizzard has. It allows people to, if they're really good at doing things in the auction house, to never pay for their service, which also bites me in the ass when we go back when going to talk about the mount too, right? You're supposed to have that $15 coming in every month, but now someone's like, no, I'm just really good at gold farming, or I'm good at selling stuff on the auction house and I can watch and monitor it really well. Well, now they're not paying that $15 anymore.
So the idea of the WoW token is pretty, right? Because somebody bought that month of WoW. Like, somebody actually paid World of Warcraft to play that month. In fact, they paid $5 tax. It's a $20 for a WoW token, right?
Yeah.
So they actually paid the tax to get to it. In concept, the WoW token is beautiful. It destroys gold farmers. It connects people who farm gold straight to the people who want to buy it. Like, yep. I like the concept. My problem with it is that they are manipulating this system. You find that, how long was the WoW token $300,000 flat? Between 270 to 330,000. I'm bringing up some nitty-gritty stuff here. But, like, how can the WoW token market be that controlled?
Volatile?
Well, it should be volatile. In fact, it should be a really incredible risk to have a WoW token, but they have...
It's actually, like, if you look at even... You keep
as
going.
of late, bad example, but historically speaking, they print WoW tokens, right? And so I think it's a bit interesting. I wonder what makes the WoW token blow up as much as it did and hit this cap of when they are making sure that the WoW token never breaches 500,000. I think the truth of it is there's not a stream of people buying WoW tokens because they just spent $90 on this fucking mount, right? And so they're not going to swipe again on a WoW token, and that's why there's an influx of gold in the market now. That's why WoW tokens are 400,000 some days, right?
Right.
I guess all I wanted to talk about is WoW's Federal Reserve is the WoW token. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong in the comments down below. I'd love to hear it. So speaking of the comments down below, we have one from JSLink89. And Nick, I'm going to ask you a little bit about this.
Yeah.
So we're going to read the whole comment. It's a bit of a lengthy one, but he brings up a lot of good stuff in this. It's easy to just say play the class you enjoy, but in practice it's hard to actually do. This is a social game. The players in this game have perceptions of various classes. I'm a Fury Warrior, and after the nerfs, I cannot get into a group. Even with adding people and trying to make friends, I still cannot play a Fury Warrior. So sure, it's easy to play what you enjoy, but if you enjoy doing group content, which is the main thing of this game, then you have to pay attention to these charts and pick accordingly, or you're going to spend most of your time in this game staring at the main hub town doing nothing. I'm sure y'all's experiences are different, but if you are playing Paladin and Mage, since those have both been highly rated in the community and get into groups easily, which Fury Warrior has had a very long time of being accepted into groups, let that know. You had a long time of Fury Warrior being broken. Us playing classes like Fury Warrior, we now have low damage relative to other classes, and we don't bring any other utility that people care about like most other classes. I'm a bit tired of hearing this take, you should just play what you want. But if you want to play if what you want is to play what others and raid and whatnot, then you will have to play what these other people accept or it's just not going to happen. And I've always put in the work, joined tons of groups, I've added a bunch of people I've played with. But while these people are willing to play with me, they aren't if I'm going to play Fury now, as if I don't help the group like others, and they just want me to play prot. So I like this comment a lot because this is an individual experience.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that. Thank you so much, JSLink89, for commenting. I do really appreciate your comment. The truth is, you just got to do it anyway. I don't even know how to put it that way. Like, if we're going to beat the norms, you got to show up to these dungeons and be the Fury Warrior they didn't expect. Yes, you're never going to get into a group. I can't even tell you how much they hate my Presevoker right now after the nerfs, right?
Yeah.
But I still show up and do it. And we've talked time and time again. This ultimately boils down to community. And there's a lot of meta chasers where we come from. And to be honest with you, well, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I don't even know if I would say as meta chasers. I think what it is too is, I mean, look at the class you're playing. This isn't me shitting on our commenter. This is me talking about the class specifically. Warrior doesn't, look at the last time we talked about a fixed stuff. Warrior only had one thing. Warrior only has one thing this time. Paladin has two ways to do that. There's a lot of additional utility I have playing a Paladin that, yeah, sometimes it sucks playing one. Like, I think Holy is one of the worst healers. So I just don't touch it. I just
excluding player versus player, but yes.
Yeah, I'm talking because we're discussing PvE,
right.
Player versus environment. So I just don't touch Holy. Plus, I don't understand how it operates. Like, I probably couldn't even play Disc Priest because I know you're supposed to do damage and helps heal. It's weird. But I think you got to look at, too, is like, what does your class offer and what can you also shift into offering? Yeah, as a Fury Warrior, damage is going to be your biggest thing. Okay, how do you increase it? Is there a little trick or something? Or is there something that maybe in the talent tree you're not looking at? Or even then, just continue to push yourself in mythic ratings. That way, when you do apply to groups, you can just get picked up a little easier. Because I know I've had times.
It's not that easy, though.
No, it's not. Because I've had times where when I started getting back into mythics, you were the one that, like, when we signed up, they pulled us because of you, not because
of my Raider IO, right?
Yeah. Yes. Our comment is absolutely correct. You have to have some friends to play the game. In general, and B, it helps a lot sometimes to get yanked in. So. But I think sometimes you also have to look at the class too. Yes, you can play what you like, but maybe you just end up playing Prot for a while until Fury is good again, and then you can go back to playing the one you actually like.
Yeah, and I don't like that, but I guess that is kind of the game dynamic, right? If you want, the truth of it is, if you are going to be a clearing 10 keys player, which I'm not, okay?
I'm not either.
I play the classes I want to play, so I'm not clearing 10s, 12s, whatever, right?
Yeah.
If you want to be an elite player, then yes, you do have to change your class. You will have to play what's good. But I think at lower keys, if you interrupt the best you can, even as a Fury Warrior, which we're coming up on another week, which we talk in our past Tavern Talk episode about how maybe they could include like a mechanic to help people that don't have, you could spec into it or something, right?
Right.
You could get a Mythic Plus talent or something. But the truth of it is, I don't want them to fundamentally change all the classes to be the same. So we have to dance this line. Fury Warrior can do a ton of damage but have no utility. That's what it's always been.
Yeah, face
it's
roll
always
keyboard.
been I slash it harder. I don't care about interrupts or group CCs, right? Go play arms if you want CC, right?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I don't want it to be cookie cutter. I don't want Fury to have arms utility, right? I don't know. There's a balance here.
Either, so.
I have a bit of a biased opinion here because Fury was so broken for so long in this expansion. Like, it was free. And in fact, I think it's still free. I still think you can do but tons of damage. You don't have high key potentiality, right?
Right.
But you can just blow through an 8 at, 600 item level because you murder. So I don't think the damage is nerfed. I do think they got to figure out what their path is with utility, is what this is really bringing up. Because a Fury Warrior who always performs and who always plays a Fury Warrior every night only has Shattering Throw for the upcoming affix. So, Nick, at the end of the day, what do? Play Paladin, right?
Oh, always. Always play Paladin. No.
So, that's our professional response. Play Paladin.
I can understand their upsetness, like them being upset with the metagame and like, I really love this class. I just want it to do good. There was a time, if I'm right, the Paladin, like even Brett sucked. I just chugged through it. Like, that's the easiest way to do it.
Paladin's always been good, though.
Well, that's because, Paladin starts with a P, because P for perfect.
Well, we can argue all day long about classes that Blizzard plays or whatnot, right? But the truth of it is, I think you can be a very effective Fury Warrior, and you do have to, like right now, our set piece is based on Bloodthirst. Like, you're going to have to prioritize Bloodthirst to proc your Rampage procs, and that makes a ton of damage. Like, it's absolutely free. It's absolutely so fucking free.
Yeah.
So, Warrior, I don't think Fury Warrior should have more utility. If you're going to play Fury Warrior, not arms, right, then you sacrifice the utility for damage, and that makes it not a cookie-cutter class, right? So, where do they balance the affixes? Do you choose a good affix talent? Does it make every class the same? This is kind of wild. Kind of a wild concept you bring up. Thank you so much for commenting, JS Link. I do really appreciate it. So, Nick, I think we should call it there. I think that's the end of our Tavern Talk.
I believe it is.
So will you send us out?
Definitely. Thank you for tuning in to another exciting episode of the Valley of Spirits. We're your hosts, Jordan and Nick, your go-to Horde players. Join us in Dornegal on the Mal'Ganis server and look up our guild, the Electric Boogaloo, for some epic adventures. Stay connected with us on social media. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, or X as it is known these days, by searching the Valley of Spirits podcast. Don't miss out on another episode, and follow us on Spotify or anywhere you find podcasts. And check out our YouTube for additional content not found on our podcast platforms. Until next time, may your quest be glorious and your loot be ever plentiful. And as always, for the Horde!